There are many conspiracy theories when it comes to Mars. The Red Planet is a world where it's very possible that life actually existed billions or even millions of years ago. There are some people who say that it's possible that we are the aliens who used to live on Mars but have somehow moved to Earth. And around 7 years ago, NASA sent a couple of rovers to Mars named Curiosity, which landed on August 5th, 2012, and Opportunity, which found itself on the surface of the planet on January 25th, 2004. Since then, these rovers have been turning up evidence that life may have previously existed on the Red Planet, and some of these photographs show bizarre things that remind us of things we've seen here on Earth. With that said, check out these 5 alien species caught by NASA on Mars! Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5! Shrimp-like creatures. In October of 2016, the Mars-based rover Opportunity beamed back to Earth some photos which to most people would look like a photograph with some rocks in it. That is what most of these photographs show. A rocky, barren wasteland with nothing more than dry lake beds and strange-looking rock formations. However, upon closer inspection of some of these photographs, one of them appears to show some strange-looking shrimp-like creatures that are facing each other. If you look closely at the photograph, it seems to show 2 lobster or shrimp exoskeletons. It is possible that these could be fossilized creatures that are very similar to the crustaceans that we have here on Earth. What would a couple of shrimp be doing hanging around in this Martian desert? Well, for one, the area could have once been a vast ocean, and these are the remnants or fossils of the creatures. But some speculate that the creatures are actually alive, and point out that on Earth, there are such creatures such as the scorpion which can live in such places. In fact, the scorpion can live in such extreme environments, no other types of life form could actually survive such places. There's a guy by the name of Scott C. Waring, who many of you might know, that studies these photographs and gives his own interpretation of what it is in these photographs. He added, in a most humorous way, that what we are seeing is 2 intelligent creatures and that one of them is simply trying to survive with its family. The reason that he said they were intelligent was that the creatures were near each other. Nothing else. Mr. Waring has chimed in on a lot of these photographs, claiming that they're proof of intelligent life. Of course, NASA dismisses the claims that these are intelligent creatures and instead categorizes the result of the photo as pareidolia. This is a strange but easily understandable phenomenon where the brain tricks the eyes into seeing something that's familiar to us, such as an object or shapes like the faces of animals. This also includes textures and patterns like rock surfaces and clouds. You know the fun game of looking at the clouds and telling people what you think you see? Well, that's what we're talking about. So, do you think there are really 2 intelligent shrimp-looking creatures in the photo who just want to survive with their family? Or do you think it's just 2 rocks that our brain's using to play tricks on us? Let us know what you think in the comments. Number 4. Lizard-like creature. Alien chasers are everywhere, and when it comes to Mars, they're very enthusiastic about finding life there on the planet, or at least trying to explain exactly what some strange phenomena or an anomaly that shows up on the photographs is. Scott C. Waring leads the pack when it comes to describing bizarre sightings. In March 2017, the Mars-based Curiosity rover snapped some interesting photographs of a rock that appears to look like some sort of lizard or an Earth-like iguana. Is this proof of life on Mars? Or just another rock posing as an Earth creature, which it seems like they do so often. The NASA photographs show this lizard-like creature in which it seems to have scrambled across the Curiosity rover. The famous UFO conspiracy theorist says that this little lizard rock thing was holding on for dear life on the camera of the Mars Curiosity rovers. If you look at the photographs and use your imagination, you can see how the small formation does look an awful lot like an iguana with its tall finned back, long tail, and iguana-like head. The weird thing about the series of photos is that in one frame it seems as though the lizard is indeed holding onto the camera, and in another it would seem that the lizard rock thing jumps off the camera. The 2 photos are about 10 minutes apart, so it's claimed that it was enough time for the animal to have crawled to a different spot. The UFO expert, Mr. Waring, says that this is 100% real proof that alien life does exist on Mars. Of course, the skeptics aren't convinced so easily. However, if you wanted to reach and say that the creature surely isn't alive, You could say it's the frozen or fossilized remains of a lizard that's a lot like the ones we see here on Earth, or perhaps the dinosaurs of long ago. And who's to say that billions of years ago, dinosaurs didn't walk the surface of Mars? It could be a very good possibility that Mars was once an Earth-like planet that would have been a lot closer to the sun and teeming with life. However, as far as the lizard sighting is concerned, a hoax buster by the name of Scott Brando, who runs a website that debunks this kind of stuff, simply said, "All I see is a rock." Number 3. Crab-like creature. If you've seen the popular science fiction movie Aliens, or any of the Aliens movies which feature the facehugger xenomorph which attaches itself to the face of the host and implants an embryo inside of the chest of the unfortunate victim, then you'll understand what we're talking about in this next item on our list. And if you haven't seen it, then you'll likely want to, after hearing about this. Curiosity was doing some drilling into the Martian soil getting samples so they could be studied, when it uncovered something that looks a whole lot like the aforementioned creature. In the photographs, there appears to be some crab-like looking creature that's preying on a smaller creature of the same species, or so it would seem. A famous YouTube channel that seeks out life or the evidence of life on Mars, which is called Mars Alive, looked at the photos and videos and says that in the particular shots that there's an alleged small alien predator that appears to attack an even smaller creature. In their video title, they're asking NASA to explain what it's found, and even Scott Waring agrees, once again unsurprisingly, that these photos are indeed proof of Martian life. However, Scott describes the creature as actually walking and moving away from the drilling area. And to make that even more interesting, Scott then claims that as the creature's walking away from the drilling Curiosity rover, that an even bigger creature decides to make a snack of the smaller one as it stretches out from under a rock and grabs it. Adding some humor to the whole thing, Scott adds that the Curiosity rover's responsible for the creature's death since it scared it away only to be eaten by a larger one. Way to go, NASA. Where's your prime directive morals? Mr. Waring is obscenely good at filling in the blanks when it comes to his own theories, and of course claims that the crab-like creature is camouflaged as a sharp triangle rock. Well, that explains everything. But admittedly, this rock formation really does look like some kind of a crab, and it would be interesting if there was something like this found on the surface of the dead planet. Only time will tell. Number 2. Alien figures. There are some photographs of things that can't be explained, and some photos are even hard to disprove. Mars is a long way away from us, and the photos we get beamed back to the planet are sometimes not of the absolute greatest quality. In November of 2015, the Curiosity rover sent back some photos, and one of them appears to show some kind of alien that's colored red peering out from a cave. The creature looks to have some kind of a fish face and is definitely a different color than the surrounding rocks. It's apparently staring out from its cave where it's hiding. But this is not the only alien sighting that people were blown away by. Another set of photos popped up online showing what appears to be 2 alien figures that are sitting next to a ruined building. These so-called suspected aliens were said to be standing next to each other, and the famous UFO expert Mr. Waring said it was impossible to tell if they were dead or alive. Since, well, it is a photograph and not a streaming video after all. If you look at the video, there does appear to be a creature with longer upper arms than a human would have, and shorter lower legs as well. Apparently, Mr. Waring says that if you add some light to the face, with Photoshop we're guessing, then you'll see the creature's 2 eyes, and the alien, or the animal, or whatever it is eerily watching the Mars rover. A lot of conspiracy theorists were saying that these photos were the definitive proof that aliens do exist on Mars and that the public doesn't need to depend on the government any longer, who only seek to cover up the evidence of life on Mars. Even more so, the UFO expert claims that he's proven 1,000 times over on his site that life exists on the Red Planet, adding even more to the claims that Americans got lost somewhere along the way when it came to depending on the government for information, but that this information is a threat to national security. And of course, NASA and the US government need to hide any information about alien intelligence. Number 1. Alien Skeleton. The NASA Curiosity rover has taken some incredible photos since it landed on Mars in 2012. Some of the photos show only empty, dusty, barren terrain. But some photos taken show some things that we're familiar with here on Earth, as we previously mentioned. Some people scour these photos that are sent back to Earth for any signs of life, extraterrestrial or otherwise. Some recent photos that have surfaced online appear to show what's a scary-looking humanoid skull that could be fossilized. In the photos, it's quite easy to see what the conspiracy theorists are claiming. In fact, it looks almost like the skull from the human-alien hybrid in Aliens 3, which appears at the end of the film. However, the supposed skull measures about 2 feet, which would make the owner of the skull around 15 feet tall or more. Some people who have seen the photos say that the skull could also be the remnant of some alien carving on the rock. Surprisingly, the more you look at the photos, the more believable they become. Of course, there is that thing called pareidolia that could be playing tricks on our brains. Perhaps when humans finally do get to Mars, we can lay some of these claims to rest. Or on the other hand, maybe we will find the remnants of an ancient civilization after all. Hope you enjoyed the video, Top 5ers. If you haven't already, check out our other channel, Americano, to enjoy even more amazing list videos. There will be a link in the description, so check it out, as well as our other